Hey everyone, and welcome to my review and opinions on God of War 2018, thanks to my friend the Senate 2099 with the thumbnail. Before we get into this, just understand that this is just my thoughts and opinions on the games based off of my experiences. If your opinions are different, that's fine, this is just how I feel about the game. If you all enjoy this episode, give it a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment and subscribe, because if this one does well, I will absolutely make more videos like this. Also, there will be spoilers throughout this video, so if you haven't played the game and want it to be experience it spoiler-free, click off now. With all that being said, let's get to the review. I really like the combat style in God of War. I found it similar to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which yes, technically Fallen Order is like God of War, as God of War came out roughly a year and a half earlier, but I played Fallen Order first, so it's the comparison I'm going to make. I like the combat style of the Leviathan axe. I don't know why I struggle with saying that word so much. Leviathan. There. Shield, and the Blades of Chaos, with all of them unlocking more abilities and moves as you progress. Another thing I like with the combat is Atreus. In most games with the kid tagging along, like The Last of Us, the kid usually doesn't do anything in combat except maybe shout some warnings. Atreus is a different story, where he starts decent as it is, but once you have the upgraded armor, arrows, bow, and quiver, he can basically handle small enemies completely by himself, especially when you get to the maximum armor in New Game Plus, where he gets all the benefits from all the best armors in the regular game. They genuinely did a good job of making him feel like a useful helper in a fight instead of just a burden for you to protect. Kratos' combat is always fun, at least for me, because there's just so many options. You want to leave your weapon sheathed and just brawl your way through a group of enemies? Go for it. You want to slash Draugr in half with the Leviathan axe? You got it. Activate Spartan Rage and tear through the enemies? Sure thing. Even just let Atreus in your fists whittle them down until you can finish and move the whole group one by one? Why not? Every fight feels at least a little different, especially the boss fights. A lot of the boss fights in the game are basically just big trolls designed to let you upgrade your weapons and give you a bigger challenge, but they are still interesting and manage to keep you on your toes, as do the Ancients, hardened enemies that are hard to beat if you don't understand their mechanics. I'm sorry I don't have any footage of the Ancients. However, the few unique boss fights of the game are genuinely amazing in my opinion. Here's where we start to move into spoiler territory a little more, so again, if you want a non-spoiled playthrough, please click off now. Still here? Alright, here we go. Let's start at the beginning, with the first fight with Baldur. I enjoy this fight, even if it is probably the worst boss fight in the game, at least for me, not including the trolls. But just because it's the worst doesn't mean at all that it's bad, as I really still enjoy the fight. It's not incredibly long, but it's just a really solid fight, with good exchange of dialogue, good cutscenes, emotion, and Baldur genuinely feels like a threat. I have way too much of a highlight reel for this fight, so I'm going to let the rest of that play out for you guys before we move on, because I feel like it's a bit of a waste that I did all that editing to put it all together, and I'm only going to need like this first clip. So I'll bring the volume back for all of the clips after this one, just for you can hear it properly, and then after we're finished with the highlight reel, we'll move on.
My turn. Tell me what I want. Pain stops real simple. Why are there two beds in here? Talk? Fine. Maybe whoever it is you've got stashed in can't feel any of this. I'd hope that you, of everyone I've faced, would finally make me feel something, but you can't.
Next you fight Herelzer, one of the last dragons in Midgard, whose fight mostly boils down to dodge and attack, repeat, and who, after you kill him, rewards you with a new arrow type for Atreus. After that, the next bosses you face are Thor's sons, Magni and Modi. I don't have any gameplay of these fights, sorry about that. The fight feels a bit easy in my opinion, as the brothers are on roughly the same power level as Kratos, and by that point Kratos has more combat experience and skill. The best part of the fight is definitely its unique mechanic of having Kratos and Atreus covering each other's backs, blinded as the brothers taunt you and attempt to attack you, as you saw in the first screenshot I had up. It's probably my second favorite fight in the game, as I just have a whole lot of fun with it. Next up is the second fight with Baldur on the dragon's back after leaping off of the summit. The fight again added some new mechanics with you blocking and dodging Baldur's attacks before counterattacking until you're thrown from the dragon, slashing its wing and grounding it as you fall before disrupting the realm travel room in another scuffle and being thrown into Helheim before making your escape. And finally, there's the third fight with Baldur, with Freya attempting to stop the violence after Baldur's immunity is broken by the mistletoe arrowhead Atreus had been using to hold his quiver together after the strap broke earlier in the game. The fight combines multiple things from other fights, such as the countering from the fight on the dragon with him earlier, his use of frost and fire armoring at certain points to force you to change weapons, and some very visually stunning quick-time events, which will show up in the little highlight reel I've created for this fight as well, because I still had the footage. This is absolutely my favorite boss fight in the game, as you really feel the emotion in some of the moments as Freya pleads you to stop. Baldur is just overjoyed at finally being able to feel, and the moment of shock of not knowing what's going to happen when Kratos grabs Baldur after Baldur tries to kill Freya before you snap his neck, which then leads to Freya's grief and rage, a moment that I just found really hit me emotionally. It just really hurt to watch. I'm going to let the rest of the highlight reel play out, and after that we'll get back to the last couple things. There's also the side mission of fighting the Valkyries, mini-boss fights in which the Valkyries themselves I didn't find too challenging. They were just fun fights, and each had some different mechanics. The Valkyrie Queen, however, was an entirely different story. She has all the attacks of the previous Valkyries, while also having a few new surprises of her own. I can almost guarantee you that you'll be spending a very long time attempting this fight. It took my friend the Senate 2099 163 tries playing on the hardest difficulty, and you'll probably end up calling the Valkyrie Queen many names such as Dishwasher and Sandwich Maker, like my friend Joe called Trilla in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.